What is that? Nothing. Nothing. You hear me? I was putting over the doctor. Oh, there you go. Not even. Hey! Oh, thanks. I was set PD. You want PD? What we want?
Well, why you didn't say correct that at the beginning? You're like, it was like.
Oh, don't let me forget this. Yes. Mainly, not because of my credit cards, but because of my iHeart card. Today we got a lit show.
Every day we have a lit show.
This one's for real, for real.
5, 4, 3, 2.
There is nothing, and I mean nothing, too hard for God. Whatever you have, give it to God, and He will take care of you. It's your main man, Action Jackson, and you're rocking with the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390. It is Tell Me Something Good Tuesday, and I've already told you that there is nothing too hard for God, but I'm so excited to be posted in the studio next to the one, the only.
What's up, believers? It's your girl Tamara Fair on the air, and I too am excited to be sitting next to you, Biggie.
Wait. So when I put this on, Melissa said, "Does your shirt say Biggie?" And then when I showed her the back, she said, "Oh, that's nice." And I thought about Tamara. I said, "I may need to change this. This woman is gonna work my nerves when she see this sweater." Well, it's an ode to the notorious B.I.G. Biggie Smalls,
Okay.
and he's on the back. But speaking of Biggie, my girl from training yesterday hit me up and said the Lord told her to help me. So I don't know. It's a sign. I got this shirt gonna say Smalley soon.
Smalley. Love it. Love it. Listen, there's some things that I found out last night that I gotta, it pays to talk to your friends. It pays to talk out loud because
It don't pay to talk to yourself.
Sometimes it depends. It really depends. I didn't know about Trump talking about Arnold Palmer's member.
You know what? At this point,
what is really going on?
And his daughter did an interview and said that no matter what Trump says about this locker room talk, the man that her father was and the people that he hung with, that type of conversation was not even acceptable. So she didn't know why Trump would say that, not only about her father, but at the airport named after him. It was just tasteless.
So for the people who have been under a rock with me, obviously I didn't know that happens. I was talking to Toy last night, and she was like, "Tammy, what is really going on?" And people ask me stuff like, "I have a 1-800 or even just a 1-900 to Trump," and I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even know what she was talking about. So evidently, Arnold Palmer rest his soul and in peace. He passed away recently, and Trump was given what he called, and I put in air quotes, an ode to him and his memory, and was talking about how endowed he was in the locker room. This is extremely.
Look, like, amen. No pun intended. Amen.
I mean, like, that is so extremely unpresidential, and I don't care who it was. If it was us, Marcel, literally. Now, we are not as popular as Trump or any on that level, but even if that was us, it's just important, and not even us, if it was you as a man, because it does denote, and I know this is not the case, but it does make people wonder, like, what are your preferences? Well, and why are you looking?
That talks a lot to the time he came up in. I'm not taking up for him, but when you talk about locker room talk, because right now a man coming out the locker room saying something about me
and
that would make me so uncomfortable, right? And I would look at him like, whoa.
And the fact that he's deceased is also like slapping the face posthumously.
Yeah, but it makes.
And I said I paused with face because I was gonna say something.
I know. You have to say it again. Dump. No, listen. But it begs the question.
It begs me a question, and that's why I mentioned
it. Do you want to vote for somebody who is tasteless,
But
right?
it's not just even tasteless at this point. It's just off the rail. Like literally, why would you say something like that? Okay, this is at the same rally that you played 45 minutes of music. People didn't come to hear the music. Everybody got a downstreaming platform. Nobody has to go to your rally.
I got 2 words. Competency test. Take us to break, Jarrell. We'll be back. Don't go nowhere, right here on the Brunch Bunch.
Like literally. What's up, guys? 2020.
Adam, what you got to say
What's
about
going
that?
on?
Turn that down, son. Jarrell, what you got to say about that?
Josh,
I just say it
this
like
is
this, bro.
amazing.
He said,
Oh, wait.
He said it was locker room
Are you
talk,
coming
right?
tomorrow?
Trump said it
I
was
think
locker
you coming
room talk.
tomorrow, right?
What I'm saying though, look, it's a big difference between a locker room with black dudes and a locker room with white dudes. Bro.
What's the big difference?
They look at each other, they judge each other, they play with each other, bro. You
What do
Whoa,
you mean
wait.
they play with each other?
Right, I'm like, wait,
Like
what?
fondle each other? That is
They
harassment.
play naked games sometimes, man. It's not harassment.
I'm a white man. He's
They
not
play
lying.
little games.
He's
Yeah,
not
we
lying.
got white teammates, but they do little white boy stuff in the locker
not
room.
lying at all.
And we just
But
like, all right.
does that make it right? And
So he
as the
probably not
president,
lying in the locker room, bro.
as the president of the free world,
Hey,
your president
he's
is
still a
talking
guy,
about
bro.
a
He's
man's
still a guy at heart.
package.
bro.
He's still a guy at heart. He's still just a
White
guy at
dudes like
heart.
this.
Okay, let me say this.
If Joe Biden would have said that you Republicans, not Adam, I'm talking about the other ones, you Republicans would have been tearing him to pieces.
So the question, like you kind of intimated to, the question is to black people, and I'm only talking to black men right now. What is the attraction to Trump? Because a lot of people say when you ask them that question, that
Mayor Johnson just
it's because of the economy.
Homeless
Most of the people that are
unification
saying that
program.
don't have an economic base. So I don't
It's
understand.
not economy, it's camaraderie. It's just
Camaraderie?
It's a
But Arnold Palmer
I'm
was a
man,
white man,
I'm
right?
a man, I'm a father, and I
He was
live under
definitely one of
morals,
those.
values, and principles. And he's a man, he's a father who lives under morals and values and principles. It just really comes down to
Arnold Palmer was a white man, and his daughter said those are conversations that her father would have never had with his friends.
Wait a minute,
Oh,
wait a minute,
Marcel,
Jarrell.
Marcel.
Hold on, it was my question. I wouldn't want to ask you. Hold on, Jarrell. Explain that to me again.
It's just It's just like a masculine camaraderie. It's just like a
Between who and who?
men in general.
And Trump.
Yeah, 100%. It's
So
just
people, so men resonate. Black men resonate to Trump because he's a man.
men across the board, and not just that he's a man, but he's an independent man. He's a leader of his family, and he got a certain amount of morals, values, and principles. Even if me and Adam are two different men,
A certain amount,
we both can understand. All right, you wake up every day.
a minimum
You
amount.
carry yourself with a certain amount of respect. You care about
You
your
find
family.
that
I feel just the same way. And on the Democrat side, it just seemed like more passive men,
Feminine?
more LGBT, more feminine, or just more pushovers. Like,
On
Okay,
what
let me
side?
ask you this.
more mama's boys.
Let me
On
ask
what
you this.
side?
Democrat side.
I'm asking the
And
three
it's-
of
and
you
it's
this.
respectable men. That's the relatability.
No, but this question is for the three of you because the three of you in common do not have any children yet, right?
100%.
So you know that Donald Trump has expressed that one of the first agenda points is that he's going to get rid of the Department of Education.
I don't know about
I know you don't. You know why you don't know? Because we are listening to rhetoric and we're not listening to policy.
Okay, all right, can I ask you this though?
No, wait a minute. Well, let me finish asking the question.
Okay.
So because you guys have not had
This
children
question
yet,
is for you too, social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
and personally,
Yeah.
I feel that you will at some point. How do you feel that your children will grow up in an America that does not have an oversight organization at the federal level of something so important as an education?
I love the answer. We got 20 seconds, and that's an answer that's a little bit more than 20 seconds. But
Yeah, I want y'all to
I
answer.
think to think that is a lot because he already been a president, and none of that already happened. So it's like
You see them
a
eyes?
little bit of
I love it.
But
That's
He
the best
works
picture
my
ever.
nerves. He do that to get jokes, but now it do it on
we going
his
in, y'all.
own.
We going in. 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 We going in.
Oh man,
What's wrong with this dude?
you can be a comic.
So if you're not looking at us on social media, you might want to join us on social media. Tammy T Fair on Facebook. I'm sorry, Tammy T Fair on Instagram and the Brunch Bunch on Facebook, because the conversations that we have on Instagram or our socials, period, are different than the conversations that you who are in your car or at your offices are listening to on the radio. So we've been talking
But
about.
let's go back because you didn't say my Instagram handle.
I didn't know you were on Instagram.
I'm on Facebook. Marcel Jackson.
Are you on Instagram too?
I was gonna lie, but no.
Okay, well, that's why I didn't say your Instagram. You know, some people just like to hear themselves talk. We got to give them the grace to do so. So,
Donald Trump, keep going.
yes. So we've been talking about Trump and the Central Park Five. As many of you remember, the Central Park Five were the boys in New York who got um, falsely accused. They're now suing. Are they suing Trump for defamation after his debate comments in the on the 1989 case? So the members of the Central Park Five sued former President Donald Trump on Monday over false and defamation statements that allege that he made about their 1989 case during a presidential debate last month. The five men claim in a federal lawsuit that Trump knew he was acting with reckless disregard for the truth when he said during the September debate with Vice President Kamala Harris that they pleaded guilty to crimes connected to the beating and raping of a woman in New York City, and that the five teenagers badly hurt a person, killed a person in the attack. Now, if you remember, that was found unfounded.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump's statements were false and defamatory in numerous respects. Attorneys for the men, now all in their 50s, wrote in the lawsuit filed in the federal court in Philadelphia. Plaintiffs never pled guilty to the Central Park case. Plaintiffs all pled not guilty and maintained their innocence throughout their trials and incarceration, as well as after they released from prison. So none of the victims of the Central Park assaults were killed. The lawyers for Yusef Salam, Raymond Santana, Kevin Richardson, Antron Brown, and Corey Wise wrote. I'm going to say those names again because when you hear them, I want you to know who the Central Park Five are. Yusef Salam, Raymond Santana, Kevin Richardson, Antron Brown, and Corey Wise. Well, Trump's campaign spokesperson, Stephen Chung, called the lawsuit just another frivolous election interference lawsuit that he claimed was brought to distract the American people from Kamala Harris's dangerously liberal agenda and failing campaign. Well, the men are seeking compensatory and punitive damages. The suit also claims that Trump's comments placed them in a false light and caused them to suffer severe emotional distress. That's warranted. The group was pressured into giving false confessions in the case. They were exonerated in 2002 when DNA evidence linked another person to the crime. The teenagers sued the city, and the case was settled in 2014. Trump has been a long outspoken person on the case, which rocked New York City in the late 80s during the time when he was a leading figure in the city's real estate and celebrity scene. At the time, Trump took out full-page ads that ran in several New York newspapers that read in all caps, "Bring back the death penalty." Now, just imagine if legislators had listened to that, those But I think that that's the absolute wrong way to do it. Now, speaking of Trump, we had a conversation in man who could potentially carve out and craft the way the rest of your life is going to be for the next 4 years and beyond, maybe. And even though he won't be able or eligible to run again, What he does right now, if he becomes president, and I say that loosely,
Loosely.
will definitely loose that Satan, but but I say that loosely. But if he becomes president, he can put statutory and statutes and legislation in place that could exceed beyond the life of his next presidency. And of course, that's all an if. Well, I definitely want to say that what alarms me about Trump is his promise to get rid of the Department of Education at the federal level. So a lot of states depend on that federal infusion to run their child care assistance programs that not only take care of the exorbitant costs for childcare, which allows parents to work and continue to keep the economy rolling. It also takes care of your disabled children who
Mm-hmm.
have special needs. It also takes care of your Head Start children whose parents are under the poverty level or right at the threshold of the poverty level and cannot afford childcare. They still have to work too, right? So all of these things, and I'm just giving you a brief synopsis of what the trickle up effect is going to be and trickle down, because this is twofold. It'll go up and down. See, until it affects somebody in Congress, Congress doesn't understand the full
Yep.
effect of it, right? So, but I'm telling you I've been working in childcare for 4 decades now. So definitely we know the impact or the potential impact. I say this to say what I've said in the past, and I say it from the rafters for the people in the bleachers who cannot hear. Who you vote for is as personal as who you sleep with. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Understand me?
oh, oh, well,
Let me tell you
take it
why.
there. That's right.
Let me tell you why. Because who you sleeping with, you're going to have pillow talk with, right? And guess
Mm-hmm.
what you're going to be talking about? What the people you voted for did that impact the quality of your life and your family's life and your community's life. So stop thinking that it's something that's esoteric and it's so far from you that it's not going to impact you. It is directly going to impact you. And that's why I'm super happy that we have people in the studio today and most days that understand the gravity of a non vote, a vote for maybe the wrong person. And particularly now, democracy is on the ballot like it has never been before.
I'm going to keep saying this. This is my speech until November the 5th. When you go into the election booth, vote not only for your conscience, but of the conscience of the people that don't understand. Because some of us may have it all together, but you got to worry about the legislation and the things that's going to be affected. Because when you think of child care, Tammy, everybody's not affected by child care when it's not funded, when you can't get daycare action. Some people are paying for private child care out of pocket, paying for their lunches. They don't need subsidized lunches because they got gourmet chefs that's preparing their kids' food. So when you talk child care advocacy, it's going over some people's head because
I understand that you think that. However, COVID taught us a lot about childcare and the importance of funded childcare, subsidized childcare, and private pay childcare. Over 100 childcare facilities that were private pay, and I mean really high, went out of business during the pandemic. Why? Because the parents weren't able to pay, because their jobs were impacted.
yep,
And guess what? Subsidy childcare went on because it was the Preparedness Act the preparedness in a pandemic, CCAP was mandated to continue to pay. So that kept our emergency child care doors open so that the people on the front lines, like your doctors, your nurses, your grocery store workers, could continue to go and provide whatever germane services, critical services that needed for us to continue to work through this pandemic.
right.
So you're right, people definitely think that, but we're all interconnected at some point, and crisis, which we are on the precipice of, crisis will interconnect you in a way that you never dreamed of or forecasted for.
That's why I said it, because when I say vote your conscience, but for the conscience of the people that are not like you, don't have those resources. Because we go in the booth to vote for ourselves, but what about our sisters, our cousins, our brothers, our aunties, our parents that can't afford to pay for child care out of pocket? They need these subsidies, but we're sometimes so selfish when we cast our vote.
It's good that you said that, because if you don't have children and you don't have grandchildren, it does not matter to you. But guess what? Somebody in your network does.
Yep.
And when you vote against whatever that
person is against,
Yep.
you're voting against the people in your network.
Yep, and we got to start thinking like that. You know, we saw a news story on the way in where on the west side, one young lady was sleeping in her bed on the second floor, and they were shooting outside, and she got shot in the eye on the second floor. And Valencia said, "And you want to move back to that area?" And then I'm like, "Well, yeah, because I love my hood and my community." But it made me to think about some things. But watch the people who see these stories that don't have to hear gunshots every day. Gun violence is not the top issue on their list, so they don't
Something
care.
simple as sirens. They don't even
Yep.
hear ambulatory sirens or police sirens, so it's not real to them.
Yep. So we got to be very careful in this election specifically when we vote. Because I had to say this because I know a lot of people that keep saying they voting for Trump, but your values and your vote is going to affect generations of your lineage beyond the next 4 years. So you got to be careful who you vote for.
And right now, one of our parents, shout out to our families over at West Austin, one of our parents recently got shot.
Mm.
And I'm not going to say their name because they haven't given me permission to, but I am asking all the believers to please pray. Luckily, it is not life-threatening, but it is a threatening, traumatic situation. But we definitely want to pour the prayers out for our family.
So we're gonna switch gears because I'm going to omit my what's going on because of course it's one of my favorite days of the week is community chatter. But I want to touch on this because this frustrates me with our people, not just our people, black people, white people, brown people. It's called comprehending, right? And understanding. Because Mayor Brandon Johnson announced an equitable transition to a one system initiative. And so we've had people crying and crying about all this money going to migrants. And he is ending where there's a separate funding for migrant shelters and separate funding for homeless and making it a one system. And people are still complaining. So, and I never do this, but I went on Chicago Media Takeout and commented because I was reading all these ignorant responses and I just wrote. And for those of you who don't know, if you're confused by the new shelter plan, here's the breakdown. Chicago is no longer keeping migrants and homeless residents in separate systems. Instead, everyone in need will be part of one unified shelter system. This means more shelter beds overall and more fair access for everyone, no matter who they are or where they come from. This is about balancing resources to make sure all people facing homelessness get the help they need. It's not taking away services from migrants for all of the advocates that advocate for migrants. But it's about making the whole system better for everyone. For those of you who were crying and complaining about why the migrants getting the money, why the migrants got shelter, why the migrants got this. So he created, and he said, he didn't say this is going to be a 3-year rollout. He said by the end of 2024 is no more.
So that's 2 months.
That's 2 months.
Less than.
That's like by January. Anybody who needs shelter, and they're adding 3,000 more beds.
So what's the critic response to that?
He should have been doing this. Why?
Delayed is not denied.
I
I mean, literally, the man been in office for 20 minutes.
I know, and that's the issue we have because, and I think about when we're going to vote for people, we always cry and complain. Reverend Evans used to say, some of us cry and complain with a loaf of bread under our arm. You know, we got a resource, but we still crying. You actually got to do something. And if you don't understand government, federally, he had to shelter migrants. And because of the local laws in place before he took office that made Chicago a sanctuary city, guess what? He had to take the federal resources and do what he was supposed to do with them. But now he's saying enough is enough. Now, if you look at New York mayor was very critical of the migrant crisis, and now he's indicted.
He sure is.
So you got to understand how politics work in this country. So kudos to Mayor Brandon Johnson. Somebody wrote on there, commented, this fool must be on payroll, talking about me. Oh, the comments been coming in all night. J. Maul Green even chimed in on me, but you know, he was nice to me online. But
he only was nice to you because he know you.
I know. He said, my brother, don't take up for this fool. And it's not taking up for anybody. Right is right, wrong is wrong.
Well, if you are an initiative person, if you're a policy person, if you're a legislative person, you're taking up for the legislation, not the person who crafted it.
Yeah, well, listen, somebody commented how Marcel Action Jackson, the Chicago homeless people should not be grouped in with immigrants. They deserve these services first. Send the migrants back. The city does not have proper resources for its own homeless. That's the spike in Trump votes right there, because he's saying he's sending them back. But the reality is
Who says he's sending them back?
Trump.
Oh,
So
okay, they're here. They're
yeah,
not going nowhere.
right. The
We
reality
got to
is
learn how to deal with this, and I think this one balanced resource initiative is a answer to what we've been crying about. I was one of the biggest voices talking about if the migrants are getting these resources, and don't get me wrong, it impacted us.
Yeah.
It impacted us positively in that we were getting migrant children to fill up these spaces that CPS is taking. Yes, I said it, but understand this: it should not preclude the people that were already here and in need.
So we said, Mayor, we don't want our resources going to migrants. We don't want them getting more than what people getting. The homeless people been homeless. Why you ain't helping them? And he heard, he corrected it, and it's still a problem.
Yeah.
There are 3,800 beds in Department of Human Services, DHS, for homeless people. Mayor Johnson said he's adding 3,000 more beds,
So
which will make 6,800 beds.
We only have 1,400 homeless, unhoused people.
Listen, I
that we
said
documented.
these people, unfortunately, too many of us are going off of sound bites. Like Trump said he was building a wall, and in 4 years I ain't seen a wall.
Oh, he built 3 panels to the wall. 3 panels.
In the words of missionary Margaret Smith, baby bye.
What do you disagree with, Daddy's promise? We'll talk about it when we come back. Y'all, it has been a day, right? But we're going to keep it rolling, y'all. It's Inspiration 1390.
Well, oh. Hey, Bishop, Tangi, Tina, Terry, Joy, what's up?
I agree with that. There's some things that he could have done differently, but once you are making steps towards doing it differently, you got to give credit to it.
Yeah, because how many people who were here and our homeless situation hasn't been eradicated? We've had mayor after mayor after mayor. So you think this black man, not a fake black man, a real black man, not a black man with a white wife, no offense to those, but a real black man with a black wife, black kids that live in the hood, that understands he couldn't pay his water bill, he was on a payment plan, so he understands what real Chicagoans go through. You think this black man in 1 year?
So I got I was about to ask you then, are we pro big federal government? Are we pro big city government, like big local government? Because we're
pro effective government.
Right.
Well, but we kind of got to pick one because they're going against each other right now, and we done kind of like flip flop to that.
How?
Because we done said we wanted federal government, like big federal government for Department of
How about
Education,
this?
But then we over here praising Brandon Johnson, and it's like the more power we give to the big federal government, the less power Brandon Johnson is gonna have.
I'm anti-party, where you putting party over people. So the issue is.
Hello.
Speaking of parties and issues.
How are you?
I know, but I mean, I'm not pro big, I'm pro right. Right is right, wrong is wrong. You can't expect.
But like
You can't.
You were just like saying how good Brandon is. He's from the hood. He got black wife.
And that's big local government.
Kamala's got a white husband.
Right, but the point is, we finally have an elected black man that's a real representative of what we say we want to see, and then you're not giving him any grace or credit. Now, if it was a black man with a white wife from the North Shore area, they probably let it go, you know.
What do you think the opinion of Obama is if he got a white wife?
What do you think the what?
Do you think that he wins the presidency if he has a white wife? That's all.
Who, Obama? He won with a black wife, so we ain't got to think about that.
I had wrote a paper in college.
What?
I said Obama wouldn't have got the minority support if he had a white wife.
Oh, Tammy, give me the mic up. Yeah.
What do you mean he wouldn't have had the
minority support? Because
you want this one?
Well, it's dead. That's why they couldn't hear. I was trying to get them charged. You okay?
Lori left him with a balanced budget and nice nest egg. All that money she left is gone. Well, that money came from the federal government, just so you know. That federal infusion was, if you didn't know this, that federal infusion had allocations that they had a responsibility to put where they were supposed to put it. Some of that was misallocated.
No.
So it's a difficult situation when you come into. Oh, okay, you are aware. So, okay. So, but that's not just because it dried up. I mean, the federal infusion dried up. So it was bound to, if you kick the can down the road long enough, you bound to catch up with the can.
You could take
So the
Brookfield
pension
Zoo
was
out.
always
Terrell.
an issue in Chicago. It's been a
Zoe.
huge issue from
Yeah,
the
that
time
was
that the
over.
pension started, and it's always going to be an issue because it's not
Zoe.
crafted the way that it needs to be crafted. Like, we're spending more money in pension than we are in human resources now. So we're paying for back human resources when we should be. Tammy, the city is now in debt, and he's proposing raising our. He walked in saying he was going to raise the taxes. He said he had 5 taxes he was going to raise. Y'all voted for those tax
Brandon, right?
raises, yes.
Yeah, he did.
He said that. He was never obscure about what he was going to do about taxes. And there are other pots that you can take
Hey,
from.
Congressman Rush, sorry. We had
But you know, we got two experts in here, especially talking about federal dollars and how they should be appropriated and used at the state level. We got 2 experts in here. So we got former Congressman Bobby Rush, and we will have former Senator Carol Mosley Braun in here. So you can ask all those questions. You didn't vote for him? I understand that. A lot of people didn't vote for him, but he is the mayor now. That means you got to work with him.
That's right. Because if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Yeah.
You know, we can't keep saying, well, I don't like his policy. Well, he's the mayor. And until you got a new one, work with him to craft policy.
Exactly.
We ready. Wynona, well, let's ask Wynona.
I know, right? Amazing guest.
Oh, it's rude. That's fine.
So anyway, if you guys have questions about
ready to come in?
the topics that we're
So
talking
we can
about,
get this party
please
rolling?
put them in the comment roll so that we can ask them appropriately for our guests and get your answers.
Well, no, you switch seats.
Wynona Redmond, and it's time for community chat.
You have the right to
brought you by
disagree with
Win-Win
him,
Communications.
but you also have the responsibility to do something about it.
It is time to win right here on the Brunch Bunch each and every Tuesday. Wynona Win-Win Communications brings us amazing guests during the community chatter segment, and we are so happy to have Wynona back with us. Let's give a warm Brunch Bunch welcome to Wynona.
Thank you. We will come on real soon, but it is you know we're ready to really we're making history. Everyone's talking about how we are going to make history, but history's been made.
Yes.
We
still got more history to make, though.
We've got, as we talk about being on the cusp of this historic presidential election. I'm so excited that we have 2 giants.
Yes.
That we have 2 giants
that are
Living
going to
legend
be
giants.
living legends. You know, we're about to come out with
who's who in Black Chicago, but we have history makers, and I'm so excited to have some folks that I can actually call friend that have been my inspiration. The Honorable Congressman Bobby L. Rush is a luminary preacher, Panther,
Amen.
public servant. But he's going to be honored this week, and he's going to be honored this Saturday at Center Space Studios. We'll give you all the details, but the Honorable Congressman Bobby Rush, I used to always tease him. We knew he had the South Side area, but I always told him, you don't know anything about the West Side, and that got him started because he was one of the Black Panthers, serving meals to the kids. And Congressman, it's such a historic time right now. We just welcome you, and we welcome you. We want to get the details on your celebration, but your perspective of history, having been history and a policymaker, welcome to Community Chatter today in the Brunch Bunch.
All right. Welcome.
First, we want to thank you for your long-standing service to Congress and to local politics and to just people, period.
I am so delighted just to be in your presence. I mean, you know, the much is so excited. I walked in on this amazing conversation, and I felt right at home. Right? And I certainly want to give all the accolades that I can to my dear sister, Wynona Redmond.
I just
And,
love Pastor Rush.
yeah.
I say Pastor Rush and his wonderful wife, Paulette.
Minister Paulette, who has started her own women's movement.
Yeah.
But and you look wonderful. I
Yes,
know
you
when I
do.
called, I was interrupting you coming from working out, but you look wonderful. And
Yeah, I try to get it in, you know, I try to keep it relevant, keep it moving. So I'm up at the gym in the morning. So, hey, but only you, Winona, only you when I have something that call from. All right? Only you.
Congressman,
I appreciate that.
Congressman, I just want to publicly thank you because thanks to Congressman Rush, his office, Ingrid Gavin, I was able to speak at the Congressional Black Caucus not once but twice.
Woohoo!
And as a
Man.
West Sider, you know, being represented by your district, I was
Yeah.
excited for that.
Yeah, you know, England was my very first hire.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she was my very first hire when I went into Congress, and she helped me close the door as I was leaving Congress after 30 years. So she was with me for 30 years.
Wow, she's an
Wow.
amazing
And
woman.
she's coming in for this event
Oh,
on Saturday. It's a legacy event where they're honoring me, and boy, we got an all-star team
Yes.
that we're pulling out. We got the governor is going to be there.
All right.
The mayor will be there.
All right.
And then we got Reverend Wheeler Parkins
oh
coming in.
wow. Okay.
Nice.
Isaiah Thomas, the
Yes.
West Side NBA All-Star and Hall of Famer, he's going to be there. No,
You got some legends.
And Frederica Newton, Dr. Huey Newton Foundation.
Yeah,
She was
Fellow
one of your
Panther.
former Black Panthers.
Yeah, she's the widow of Huey P. Newton.
Yeah.
She's
Right.
going to be there. So we got a whole all-star crew that's going to be there, and they're going to be hopefully saying some nice things about me. But it's my legacy, man, and we're raising money for a not-for-profit organization that we have just launched,
Awesome.
and it's going to be doing some remarkable work. So I didn't retire from Congress. I returned to my community.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I didn't retire. I refired.
You
I love
refired.
Right, yeah.
And this event that's coming up, it is so much that we can go and look and sign up for. But it is going to be this Saturday, October 26th, 6 to 10 p.m. There's a VIP reception in the Center City Studios at 2429 West 14th Street. We will put the information up. I know you got plenty of good organizers, including Shanita Muse and others.
Yeah.
But this history moment, we our time runs by real fast. We're gonna celebrate your legacy, and you did so much policy making. And as you walked in on the conversation of this presidential election and what's at stake and what policies are on board, wanted to just give you a chance to chime in on history being made, because you've been there with the first Black president. You've been there with the different candidates running. And
You
your
were there with the
legacy.
Trump administration too.
Yeah, yeah.
You were
yeah,
on the
yeah,
January
yeah.
6th.
You're like, I forgot that.
No. Let me say this. In my opinion, this is the most important election that
Of our time?
no, in history. Well, I say since the Civil War. It's the most important election since the Civil War. And it's the most important election for Black people since the Civil War. And why do I say that? We have a person who's running who happens to be Black and Asian and who happens to be a woman. I say happen to be. But more than her gender, more than her racial familiarity or kinship with us, she has the knowledge and the skills and the training, and she has the guts. She, she understands where she's come from, why she's there, and she's gonna do the job. So I don't think that there's anybody, particularly black man or woman, who should not be as enthused, as on fire for this lady because she has done the work. She's prepared herself.
Her life has prepared her.
Her life.
Her
Look,
entire life.
she walks into that White House from day one. She knows what she's doing because she's had a 4-year internship.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right, as vice president.
I love
So
that.
she knows how to move the market, know how to push the money. And what really made me so excited about her was when she came, her first program when she was nominated, her first platform, her first policy, she talked about home ownership, affordable home ownership. $25,000
Yeah.
for first-time home builders. Now, for black people, think, what is the major, if there was one thing that we would want to be blessed with for our whole community, what would that be? Not a job, it's important. Not healthcare, it's important. But it only makes sense when you can own your own home.
Preach.
That is the key to a middle class lifestyle. Home ownership. That's the foundation for most of the wealth in this nation. It's home ownership. And the one thing that they have withheld from black people, particularly since slavery, was owning a home. You are too young to know, but I remember the day in 1970 when for the first time in American history, black people were able to buy a home that was guaranteed with a federal mortgage. Until 1970, black people could not buy a home that was guaranteed with a mortgage that was backed by the federal government.
1970. That's recent.
recent.
So,
I remember when black people on the south side wanted to buy a home, they had to buy it under a contract. Not a mortgage, not a federal mortgage, under contract.
So,
They had, and what would happen is that if you missed a payment, or you didn't have no, in court, you could go to court, they just took the home from you, no matter how long you had been there, how much you had invested in it. So they robbed us until 1970. But Kamala Harris, the first thing that she said, and I want to make sure that we have first-time homeowners will get $25,000, and we're going to build 3 million homes in this nation.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just say this to you. I didn't have all this before, but I remember I was raised by a single mama, had 8 kids, single mama, and we moved around a lot. The rent became due 2 or 3 months. We moved to a new neighborhood. 6 months, we moved to a neighborhood.
Because you were renting.
We were renting. And I think about if my mother had had the ability to own a home where I could have spent 5 or 6, 7, 8, 10 years, 12 years in the same apartment, same home, how life would have been so different.
You were growing roots.
You got roots, you're able to, some of the stress that you have when you move to a new neighborhood, meet new friends, that stress ain't there. You concentrate on becoming successful. So home ownership, man, that's why, brothers and sisters, if for no other reason, the very first time in the history of this nation, we have a person running for president with an economic policy that speaks directly to the heart, mind, soul, and spirit of our community. we need to have more homeowners. That is the biggest difference between our community and other communities. Home ownership.
She
Yep.
lives
Own
here,
your
so she
own home.
definitely can craft policy to make sure
Absolutely.
that other
For
people can live it.
no other reason, we ought to be running to the phone.
Yep.
All right?
Our community would be better.
Be better,
People
man.
would be more vested.
If you're
And cleaner.
if you're a community homeowner, you will have better schools.
Yep.
You will have better shopping districts. You will have more public safety. If
Healthy
you
ecosystem.
got a community of homeowners, the whole world treats you differently.
So when we're 2 weeks away. We always run out of time before 1 o'clock. We're 2 weeks away from this election. So home ownership, and then they talk about. We were just talking about when they were looking at some black men that are not on board. You were a Panther,
Right.
and you have been a pastor, and you've got. So when you look at what you left and your legacy continues, and where the next administration picks up, when they talk about immigration, when they talk about the economics, when they talk about health care, all of these things that are unfinished and need to be continued, you've hit it on the head on that home ownership
It's
helps.
key. Every other thing moves from that.
Yep.
Every other thing moves from that. In this nation, owning a home is more important than almost anything else. That's the reason why they kept it from us until 1970. Just think, if we had been able to buy homes, say since the 30s and 40s, like others were able to do, how much economic power will we have? You know, how rich would our
We would all
community be?
But then that generational wealth concept is no longer a concept, it's a reality.
It's a reality. And we always, here we are, we are going to always start all over again.
Yep. Always.
All right, so when we start all over again, then the others who are competing for the same resources, they always are ahead of us because we always got to go back to square one.
They can take money out of their home, start businesses. They can pay debt off.
Yeah,
I was at
man.
dinner Sunday night,
Man,
and a woman was talking about how her mother passed, and she left for the house she had bought in Puerto Rico, left for her condo in Vegas, left for the house here, and talk about all the investments that she pulled money out of those houses to start businesses.
I'm telling you, brother. And so what Kamala is doing, she said, I understand because I've been there. I know what the feeling is. I know the difference that it made for my family, for us as children, when my mother was finally able to buy a home. If she had not been living in a home, she would not have gone to law, probably would not have gone to law school at Howard. She would not have been a district attorney or attorney general for the state of Rhode. She would not have been the foundation, the security, and the stability. See, owning your own home creates a stable family, stable community, stable life. And we need the stability. You cannot grow as a people when you are always scattered and always scrambling.
And on the move.
On the move, you gotta have some stability.
I think it speaks to your mental stability too when you have a stable home.
Yes.
Like for me, when I come into my house, that's when I recharge. And I'm not worried about in the next 3 or 4 months or 3 or 4 years that I got to go somewhere else because that stability is there. But before we run out of time, you are accepting donations to your foundation?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Tell us how to do it.
How do our listeners donate? How do we help the cause? Because you've been in this game a long time and you've been winning a long time. We want to help you win. We want to get some of that energy that you have, and we want to be vested in such.
Well, I tell you, right now, we have this event coming up on Saturday, and you can contact me at area code 312-607-3700. And I'll give you further instructions on how you can be of help.
That's a donation number?
Yeah, that's a donation number. That's an information number.
That's the number. That's the
my
magic
And
number.
the checks will be made payable to
Right.
Emerald South
Right.
Economic Development
Right.
Collaborative.
Right.
We'll put all of the information on our
Yeah.
websites and on our social media so that you can support this man. You deserve all of the honor.
Right.
And what would you say out of your legacy? We're celebrating so many pieces. I always like to tease them about the Panthers, but we're
I
celebrating
want
so
to
much.
celebrate you about them pants.
Oh, yeah.
And you all serve breakfast on. I used to tease them and say, "You don't know anything about the West Side," and that always got a rise out of him.
You did it
because that was
intentionally.
history.
Yeah.
But then you've got such a wonderful Minister Paulette, the pastor piece. I love the fact that you did the gospel event at Congressional Black Caucus, and whenever he told me, Wynona, that this one can pray, he would tell me the speakers that he brought.
Yeah.
The pastors he brought to Congress to pray.
Right.
But I would say out of all your legacy, you did legislation, but you've saved souls as well as the community.
Well, I guess, of course, I authored and got passed the President Biden signed into law the immature Anti-Lynching Act.
That was amazing.
Yeah, 100 years, Congress had tried to pass an anti-lynching act or a bill, and I was able to do that. And as a matter of fact, Senator Harris was my Senate sponsor of the immaterial bill. So we worked together on that bill, and so we were able to pass that. It was signed. But, there's so many things that I really look back on. We did such a great job. And,
Yes.
I got the federal funding for the level 1 trauma center at the University of Chicago. They didn't have a level 4 trauma center for years. And so there were students and young people were protesting. I passed a bill in Congress that was a part of the Affordable Care Act, or Health Care Act, the Obamacare, that included monies for in 10 cities to do level 1 trauma centers.
Wow.
And Chicago was, was the lead one. We were number one because that was where I was from. And I passed that bill thinking about Chicago. Because, my son Huey was killed in 1999, and he had to travel about 20 miles. He was shot. He had to travel about 20 miles before he could get to a level 1 trauma center.
And that cost him.
And he bled out,
Congressman, we need to have you here for hours and hours because we know your wealth of knowledge. We thank you for joining us. And it's just a travesty that you had to pass an anti-lynching law, right? But we're gonna continue to pray for this country. Congressman Rush said something, and I want you believers to know early voting has expanded, is open. Go and vote. When you go into the booth, let's not think about anything, but go vote for stability. Go vote for generational wealth. Vote for affordable, quality health care.
Vote for democracy.
Vote for heart, body, mind, and soul. Listen, thank you, Congressman Rush. Thank you, Wynona, for joining us.
And don't forget to donate. That number is 312-607-3700, 312-607-3700. Lastly, 312-607-3700.
All right, we are out of time, but we're never out of content. Wynona, thank you once again. Community chatter was amazing. We encourage you to keep Love 24 alive. Tell someone that you don't know that you love them. Tell someone that you do know that you love them. Love will begin to spread like a wildfire. Up next, AC Green. After that, Pastor DeAndre Patterson. We get it done all night long, right here on Inspiration 1390.
You guys have just been in virtual communication with the living legend. Of course, we are super excited to have had Bobby Rush by way of the dynamic Wynona Redmond. So you guys make sure that you push that donate button. There's no donation too big or too small.
We can do a free.
You have
we
got
can
to
record
donate.
a segment.
312-607-3700.
Since she's here.
Can we
You
do a
got
drop?
time?
Can we do a drop with him? So
Yeah, but do you have time to stay to record an interview with Kara Mosley Brown?
she's on here.
She's here.
Yes.
We had
She had a
time
little
to
bit of an
record.
accident on her way.
Is she
So
okay?
she's here. No, yeah, she's here, but then she.
In the
So we'll
meantime,
need
can we
about
do a
15,
drop
20
with
minutes.
Congressman Bobby Rush?
So, Congressman, if you could say, if you're listening to the brunch,
So, yeah,
I'm
we'll get
Congressman
behind
Bobby
the
Rush.
scenes.
You're listening to the Brunch Bunch on Inspiration 1390. All right.
Let's charge them real quick.
All right. They're gonna record you.
Maybe you should say, get out and vote too. He gonna tell you.
No, he asked you what he's saying.
Oh, okay.
Much.
Start out with I'm Congressman Bobby Rush. You're listening to the Brunch Bunch. However you say it, it's fine. Get out and vote. Or any rendition of that.
3, 2, 1.
I'm Congressman Bobby Rush. You're listening to the Brunch Bunch. Get out and vote.
All right, that was a good one.
That was
One take.
great. That's one take, Bobby.
We can take a quick picture with him and then,
Of course.
then we'll grab
She's
You want to stay?
She's in the building.
You want to stay for her?
No,
No, you gotta go.
I'm dialing for $1.
He dialed for dollars, but we'll take your
I know
picture.
that's right. Here, you can leave that here for now. We'll bring it out to you when you get ready to go, so you don't have to
Yeah, I got it.
all that. You can even leave your keys. All right, you'll be safe.
Congressman Rush, my cousin, Curtis Johnson. Yeah, that's right. So that's that. Yeah. He's in Malaysia now.
He's amazing. You amazing. He looks great. I saw him at the DNC.
Call her. Can you call her?
It was a rough day.
I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for your entire life. Thank you so much.
Exactly what you just said, though. And look
Yes,
what he
you
said.
are.
Look,
Appreciate you.
that's
Of
who
the
we
life
are.
that I live.
And I
That's
think
a
a big
song.
fear of a lot of men is that if Kamala Harris becomes the president, he doesn't want to be the president. We're going to now live in a world where the women can tell us what type of men that we can be. 100%. And there's already a bunch of mama's boys out there who they mamas and they girlfriends tell them what type of men they can be. But us men,
I got a ton of
raised
pictures
by
by
other men,
myself.
raised with that camaraderie, we about to be
You guys could get in the middle of the insignia. Why not? Oh,
Oh, they want to talk.
sure. Leave me alone. Don't touch me.
Then come on, y'all. We got to go find Carol. She's in the building somewhere.
They expect their girlfriends to propose. They expect their girlfriends to go buy the house, and then they want to be passive men. It's like they want somebody to take care of them.
Don't leave yet. I want you to take a picture with Pam.
Wait, what you talking about? Oh, okay.
I know, right?
John Hannah was on 1390. Him and Angela Martin in the morning.
Yes, right, I remember that, right.
Yeah, I've been here 18 years, so I kind of go back.
Yeah, and what happened to the black guy who was, he started out here, what was his name? I can't remember his name. Then he became, they promoted him to,
Steve Harvey.
no, not Steve
Oh,
Harvey.
you talking about
He was a general manager.
the fly jock?
No,
Not the fly
He
jock?
was general manager.
yeah.
Oh, oh, I know who he's talking about. Earl.
Earl Jones.
Yeah.
Earl Jones.
Don't mention his name around here. Yeah.
Earl Jones. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Well,
But he's back in Louisville, where he come from.
oh yeah.
They shipped him home.
Okay.
They
All
shipped
right.
him home,
All right. Well, I remember him. All right. I
Yeah.
know all the drama behind it, but I don't remember. But yeah, Tom Joyner and.
Oh yeah, a lot of
you know,
greats come out of here.
Oh yeah.
Can y'all hear me now? So they didn't hear Jarrell. Maybe they heard
Maybe
Tammy.
they should have heard me.
Yeah, I don't know.
They want to hit me. That's what they really said.
Maybe Tammy said something she wasn't supposed to say.
I hope not, because that'd be real stuff. I'll just be talking.
Yeah, I
opinions
think
and
it
stuff.
might have been.
I hope that.
I think
that
it might
ain't-
have been her.
Oh.
But she didn't say nothing.
I hope not.
I don't know. Her fam was whispering.
Oh no, not then. Not then. Like when you guys were out just now.
No, I'm talking about that. They her fam.
She went up.
She went and got found.
Oh.
You gotta watch that, Mike.
Yeah,
That's
those
why I
are
like all
dangerous.
this new
Those are dangerous.
smart stuff, bro.
Yeah,
Everything recorded.
Them ain't
all-
smart. They
Yeah, you don't
microphone.
even realize
That's the
it's
world
on
we
here.
finna live in.
They
bro.
lapel.
Yeah.
Smart glasses, smart rings, bro. It's everything recording all the time, bro. I think that's the real reason why a lot of this election going sideways too, bro. Is I think we living in a world where everybody feel like they recorded 24/7, G, and they scared
Did you
to say how they
say?
really feel.
Did you say if Kamala becomes president, we will have all these mamas, boys, and women telling us what to do?
Yeah, I said that during the show. Though.
All right, then yeah, that's something he said. He stands on it.
I said that during the show.
Yeah,
I told Tamir.
That's something I've heard from Jarrell multiple times.
We can talk about it if y'all want
Yeah.
to talk about it. I'm not
I'll
afraid.
talk about it.
If Kamala win, we're gonna have mamas, boys, and who?
I don't know if I said anything
women
about
telling
Kamala
us what to-
winning,
women
but I
tell
do
us.
think that a lot
You got a
of,
problem with a woman telling you what to do?
I have a problem with men being okay with being the followers of women. Stop letting your wife like.
No. That ain't the question.
What's the question?
I said, do you not? What was the question? Do you not allow one? Do you have a problem with women telling you what to do?
Like giving me authority?
Yeah, a
Not
woman
at all.
in authority, power, saying go
Not at
do
all.
that.
Not at all. But I do have a problem with men not wanting to be leaders.
Right, but if the woman is the chosen leader, they can't.
But it's not a woman men thing, bro. It's a
Husband, wife.
Men that are raised by women usually don't or can't be the leaders of other men. That's what I'm really trying to get.
That's not true.
I think so.
That's not true. Do you know?
Well, riddle me this.
Watch
Give
it.
me some examples then. Give me some examples.
Barack Obama.
Give me some examples.
Barack Obama. Because
What
his
about
daddy
him?
wasn't always in the house. He talked about being raised. Everybody, most black men in leadership would tell you. Most black
I
men
don't know
in
many
leadership.
black leaders at all, so I'm waiting on some examples.
Listen, but think about this. Most black men in Congressman Rush is a great example.
Exactly.
He
I'm
led.
glad you brought him up because it didn't make the situation better.
Why?
Because he sound like a male version of his mama. He don't sound like a big, strong, independent man, bro. He sound like a
Well, that's because his
male
voice
version.
has weakened. But
No, it has nothing to do with his voice. It's his opinions. It's his tone. It's his apologeticness. It's his.
I don't say. What is you talking about?
More than anything, Marcel. The number one
Yeah.
difference. Marcel, the number one difference. Dudes who raised by their mom usually care about being liked. Guys who raised by their dad usually care about being respected, bro. And I could tell you speaking from a tone of,
but I
want
think
validation and I don't care about self-respect.
I think that's an opinion. I don't think those are
Adam,
facts.
what you think?
Because I know men. Look, Rolanda, like, what is the conversation? Right.
No, let's talk, bro. Let's talk.
I know, but first let's say this. If you look at black men in leadership, if you just start studying, right? Unfortunately, because systemically, men have been taken out of our households for decades, right? So most men were raised in single parent homes where moms are the leader. And guess what?
Yeah.
They are leaders of leaders. They are men of men. They command rooms when they walk in the room.
First of all, what label would you give to a man that's a leader among men? Because I wouldn't call him a preacher or a politician, but I would call him a coach. How many coaches are there who grew up under their mom who knows how to deal with boys and men?
A lot of them.
Give me some examples.
I mean, just start Googling black coaches. What about Deion Sanders? Google Deion Sanders, see if he was in the scene.
Deion Sanders, right? Because Deion Sanders is an athlete. I don't know if Deion Sanders' dad was around, but I can guarantee you this. Deion Sanders grew up under coaches, under football coaches.
But that ain't the point you made. You said single parent household. So that's the difference. Because there's some men, but watch it. There's some men who are raised in 2-parent households Well, the daddy still wasn't there, and he was technically raised by his mom.
Deion Sanders was raised by mom and father.
Okay.
Well, his dad and mom got divorced at 2, but
who was raised in the household?
No, they call
he
that a
was
single
raised-
parent
he was raised
household.
by his stepfather. He was
Single
in the
parent
house.
household.
He was raised by his stepfather. He was
How
in the-
old?
He said he was.
But coming,
He's
but
two.
it's both
Two
justice.
to
But
growth.
coming back to that house at the end of the night and knowing that you got an answer to a man is completely different than going back to the house at the end of the night and knowing that you don't.
Okay, watch
Sanders
this.
It's a
raised
lot
by
of
his
dudes
mother
who
and
deal with
her new
coaches
husband,
all
Willie
day,
Knight,
every day, and then they
who
get to go back home
Sanders
and cry.
credits with
I
being
didn't get
an
to go back home
influence
and
in his
cry.
life.
Most of the guys I knew didn't get to go back home and cry. And I'm saying that the number one, because when you hit about between 15 and 18, your experiences as far as dealing with your father is going to be completely different than your experiences. If that
I'm gonna tell you, like I
father's
told the
not-
father.
and them experiences alone is going to create what type of man you are, bro. And that's what I'm saying, bro. You're not really going to be able to be a leader among other men.
LeBron James,
What about it?
raised in a single mother.
And he's an athlete who was raised by a bunch of
Jay-Z.
coaches, bro.
That's true.
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z's a feminine guy.
He's a leader. You didn't ask about. He's a leader. You said a black man being a leader.
Okay, let's go. Jay-Z, right? Example, right? Now we all know Jay-Z used to be
Barack Obama. I said it. His
he was
father
too.
left when he was 2.
There's nuances to every
Louis Farrakhan. Now let me hear you say something about the
I
honorable.
don't know much about Louis Farrakhan. Well, you want to talk about Jay-Z? You want to talk about Obama?
Chris Gardner,
Hold on.
Kanye West, Dr.
Hey,
Ben
West is not a
Carson,
man like that.
Dr. Ben Carson,
Ben Carson ain't either.
Malcolm X.
So what's his
Okay.
point? What's your point?
Yeah, well,
To the people that you were just naming, Jay-Z and all of them, bro, them not leaders among men, bro. They still do little like stuff that we kind of deem as they ain't got no morals, principles. Or
Yeah.
No, well,
Jay-Z is
you
known,
said
Jay-Z
leaders.
is known for being the biggest sellout in hip hop.
but listen, it don't matter about that. You
No, it
said
does matter. No, it does matter.
no, because
if
your
he had-
original
if he
point.
had been raised in an environment full of men, that type of behavior would have never been okay. You wouldn't even felt okay turning on your boys like that. If you would have grown, loyalty would have meant more to you, bro. You don't feel
Okay,
like
Steve
I
Harvey.
mean, that's all. But
Steve Harvey's not a leader, and Steve Harvey also got a history of doing little whole ass shit.
No, you
I ain't
asked
talking-
your original point. Let's go back because
Ask
they
Bernie
asked.
Mac about Steve Harvey.
Watch it,
Ask
but Bernie Mac, single parent household. You said
I
originally
don't think that's
you
true.
don't think that men raised by single mothers, women,
Can
could be leaders
other men.
over men.
Yeah.
And I just gave you good examples of some.
And I
Do you
said
know
that-
who Chris Gardner
I
is?
don't know who
Chris Gardner, the pursuit of
Now,
happiness.
Justice did say something. Amount of male mentors does mean something.
Yeah,
50 Cent.
I didn't put that into play. Okay,
Yeah, I was
50
asking
Cent hit his very dead. Now, but regardless, bro, the amount of male mentors is probably what I should have said, right? And what I'm saying is, if you don't have a certain amount of male mentors in your life, you're never gonna be able to be a leader among men, bro. Because other men won't be able to respect you.
I don't
here's
believe
my
that's
push-
true
well,
because
here's
I'm
my
going
pushback.
biblical. You're a Christian, you biblically, right? You ever heard, the
No,
Bible
I am
teaches
a
us that.
realist person, bro, who grew up in an environment full of men, bro. And I'm telling you, there's certain aspects, there's certain traits you have to be a leader among men. You're not gonna have these traits going to a house where emotions and stuff like that are prioritized.
But here's my pushback.
You're not
on
gonna
that.
have that amount of tough skin.
But my
I
pushback,
don't believe
my
that.
pushback on that is what you said.
Well,
what you just said.
let's get a bunch of other dudes up in here raised by, you feel me, male mentors, and let's see what they say.
Let's
bro.
add, what about Golden
Let's get-
Child, the rapper? You know him? And he
No.
just had a dinner, and I looked at them pictures. He's been on the show, big time, big from Inglewood.
Was he the dude who was hit like 2 years?
Yeah, he looked real.
He had the military
Yeah,
stuff on.
the camera
Yeah,
stuff.
y'all look at him as a big manly guy?
Well, let me tell you this. I'm giving you an example.
I look at Larry as a big manly guy.
Larry who?
Larry the barber.
Rogers.
Okay. Listen.
What you think Larry would say?
Larry Rogers.
I think Larry would.
You mean Larry the barber?
Yes.
Is it not Rogers?
No, it ain't
What
Rogers.
you think Larry would say?
Larry is in tune with his feminine and sensitive ways.
I don't know Larry like that.
I do.
I know that we did talk about politics and stuff like that, and from my point of view, he seemed like every other regular guy.
Okay, but
He seemed like
So you
every
didn't
dude-
think Golden Child was?
No, you are. Thank you.
Yeah,
Alright,
and
so-
listen,
so-
and I say this, hold on. Golden Child just had a dinner, and when I looked at the pictures of these men celebrating him, hold on, Justice, hold on. Yeah.
That's the John Walton
Good job.
No, he did it at Salon Restaurant. Pam threw him a birthday party, and it was a room full of thug dudes I mean, hood. Now, when I looked at him, my thought was,
You think Thug
wow,
Life-
I could never. No, hold on, Jarrell. When I looked at the picture, I said, if I called a group of men from the hood, my group of men wasn't gonna look like that, because I ain't in tune with these young brothers. I can't judge a book by its cover, and I would advise you never to do that either, because you don't know what a person. Yeah, but we can't do that because it ain't real. It ain't reality. Because you think one thing about something. You just said something about a brother, and then your response was, when I gave you the real, you said, well, I don't know him like that. But you assume.
I never got that from Larry, bro. I never got that.
You don't know him.
I don't know him.
Larry,
I
our friend from the Bible college.
He seemed
Larry
like
Roberts?
Roberts, not Rogers.
What about him?
He said, Larry saying, we're talking, Jarrell believes that a man raised by a single mother can never be a leader of men.
Okay.
We're talking about that. So then I gave him a list of men who were raised by single mothers who are men and lead men.
Mhm.
And he said Larry Roberts seems like a manly man that leads men.
But he wasn't raised by a single mom.
I know. Oh, well, that's one. But then I said, but how did you get that? Because Larry is really in tune with his sensitive side and his emotional side. He will share his emotions, but to her point too, he was.
Too much emotions makes you.
You just said in a woman's household.
I said prioritizing respect over being liked. That's the biggest number.
So I know the gone.
And what I'm saying,
she gone? I don't know.
Larry is
She gone?
Where she at? Cause we just live and talking. Y'all get behind the scenes. This brunch much after dark. You should be recording this.
What you said earlier about how the men that he mentioned, a lot of them are like sellouts and stuff like that or whatever. In my opinion, I feel like the best leaders are the ones who are able to encompass all aspects. So they're able to talk to women and be in tap with the feminine side. And selling out people, only getting yours, only focus on getting mine, synonymous. That's usually synonymous with masculinity, at least in terms of society. That scene is like when you bulldozing everybody.
Synonymous with disloyalty.
But it's also seen as
that's the worst thing that you can be in a masculine environment.
It is the worst thing you can be. But in society's eyes, that's
not you're not the masculine guy being disloyal, bro.
I mean,
Trump is disloyal.
You look at Trump. I was going to say, you look at Trump.
Yes.
Trump is a perfect example.
No. But you talked about men connect with him because he's a manly man.
And who has he been disloyal?
Listen, one thing I do.
That's a great point.
When I say
I should have went to law school like they told me
I
to.
mean disloyal to your friendship and your environment. Yo.
Disloyal is disloyal.
Disloyal to I think
anybody.
Time out. If we a group, right? And I go over there and I tell them, hey, bro, I got something for you. I'm gonna be 100% loyal to you. But I know this is my real group. I'm just over there finessing them. I ain't did nothing disloyal. I might seem disloyal to them, but look, I'm looking out for the guys. You think I'm not on their team? Trump ain't being disloyal to his homies.
Jarrell, can I? All right, hold on, everybody. Wait, I got a point. Jarrell.
They goofies. Come on.
Jarrell, a guy picked up a snake off the side of the road because he was harmed, about to die. Okay. He took the snake home. And brought him back to good health. And as soon as the snake was better and not dying, the snake bit him. Yeah. And the guy was about to die. He asked the snake, why would you do that? I took care of you. He said, yeah, but I'm still a snake.
Right. Common sense.
So disloyal is disloyal, though. So I don't care if you say you disloyal to get us ahead. I can't trust you if you disloyal.
That's, as long as the guys who I need to trust me can trust me, that's all that matters. And I'll tell you this, Trump definitely got an inner circle of guys who can trust him and he can trust him. If he go to jail or one of them go to jail, you're going to see the loyalty come out of them just like that. Bro.
We shall see.
That's not bad.
Look, we shall see.
That's not a bad point either. Trump's little circle is
hello.
It's like that I heart, bro.
It's with any group.
I ain't trying to be funny.
Guys, thank you. Welcome to the brunch.
Everybody else can get fired. That's everything.
We probably met about
police like that, government like that. That's how everything works, bro.
Look at you. I know. Hello.
I was just saying, my main point is like when you look at some of the top businessmen in the country,
you're the beautiful one.
Thank you
so much. Talking on the show today about
they're ruthless. They'll do whatever it takes to succeed.
You go up
because
the regular people.
You might see that's just
yeah, exactly.
We're gonna go live, so we're gonna record the
You were saying
interview
that,
so that we can play
most
it
of the people
tomorrow.
you named were raised by single mothers, and that's
So that'll
something
be
that's
cool.
that's disloyal or whatever. But I'm like, I don't think
She had an
that's synonymous
accident and she
with
still
Are you
whether or
okay?
not you're raised by a
She
single
has
mom. I
her
think that's just
knee
like
and
people
she
get
had
into
to
money
fall, so she
and their
still
values
made
change.
it.
Wow,
So
we're so
I
glad.
Let me tell you
be a
something.
negative.
I pray you
We
drink
would wait
water
for
to
you,
do some disloyal
no
stuff
matter
and
what.
feel good and go back and be comfortable with it. You
Your
have to be
contribution
going
to
back
our
a feminine
lives have
environment. You
been
can't go do something
unparalleled, so we
disloyal. You
definitely
go back
want
to a
to honor
masculine
you
environment
with
and they're gonna
the
accept
gift
you.
of
Why do you
waiting.
attach? Why do you attach that to femininity?
So we'll
Yeah,
talk
we can't have
about
that
what
conversation.
you're
We got
gonna
a
be.
great
My bad,
guest
my
in the
bad.
room. Do you know who this is?
You're awarded your honor.
Miss Braun.
Yes, sir.
And they're gonna ask you to say your name and you're on the brunch bunch and get out to vote too.
Yes, we are. We're going to ask you to do a drop.
What kind of a drop?
So the drop would be I am
Right.
Senator Carol Mosley Braun, and you're listening to the Brunch Bunch. Get out and vote.
Yes, that's a good message.
Okay.
So do we use the stream again or?
Yeah, we're still live.
Can we put?
Yeah, bring
Can
it.
we
Come
put
back
the
in the
senator
stream.
on?
Stream.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. Someone stopped me one day. I was walking down the street, and it was on by Chase, downtown Chase, and said, "Hello, Senator." Thought I was you.
That's funny.
I wish.
I
Did
wish.
you go along with it?
Huh?
Did you go along with it?
I was like, "Excuse me?" He said, "Don't pretend you're not Senator Braun." I said, "Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Hey,
I won't pretend."
I don't want to pay either.
Right.
So at least 40 years younger.
So we need these mics back.
It was a white guy.
We're gonna still on stream, y'all. Do we need the mics?
Yep. So they all got a little charge.
Ooh, we got some charge now. Does the senator have one?
I'm getting the water right now.
This is the water for Senator.
I should put it up though,
Do
right?
you need to get some water?
Okay.
I got some. Thank you.
You want me to come? I'm good.
Bobby Rush, Congressman Bobby Rush said he's sorry he missed you.
Oh, they saw each other going
Oh,
down.
you did?
He
Oh.
was telling a story about how when they were both flying back first class to D.C., she had stopped at Maxwell, and they ate Maxwell on the plane in first class.
Stunk up the plane.
Oh my God. Stunk up the plane.
You know those onions.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. We gonna take us with us wherever us go.
That's right.
That's right. And you know what my daughter said to me? My daughter, who's a millennial, said that people now really thirst for authenticity.
Yeah.
They do not want to see your fake persona. They want to know who you are. And I think that's where Kamala really does lead the path. Now I understand that he's not fake. It's just that his
Message does not resonate with other people who can, by and large, particularly ones who are invested in change and real authentic change
for the masses. That's not something that we commonly thread with him on.
All right, you ready?
I stay ready.
I'm waiting on you.
Well, let's do it.
Let's go. All right.
Are we doing a drop or are we doing a...
We
Do the
doing an
drop
interview.
first.
No, let's do the interview first. The drop at the end.
We starting as chatter or just jumping in?
Chatter.
Are you gonna have an intro or something? Are you gonna...
I'm gonna bring the chatter intro in.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Well, you know, each and every Tuesday, Wynona brings us a great guest. But you know what? On this Wednesday, because it's Winning Wednesday and we're in political season, we only have less than 2 weeks before we choose the next president of these United States of America. So Wynona came back and brought a very special guest with us. And I'm going to let Wynona, Win-Win Communications, introduce the guest.
It is so exciting. You know, they've been doing this whole Black women win, but winning, period. It is such an exciting honor to be able to have a history maker, a shero, but someone that has been an inspiration and a friend. And that is none other than the Ambassador Carol Mosley Braun. People are saying on the eve of history, but what we know is history has been made. So Ambassador Carol Mosley Braun served in the United States Senate from 1993 to 1999. She made history. She, as a Democrat from Illinois, as the first African-American woman She just made history. She beat an incumbent,
Mhm.
and that was history. And as we look at all of the things in 1992, she not only made history, but then she became ambassador, Carol Mosley Braun. And what she did, she didn't just go to New Zealand. She actually founded a company. Some folks don't know that they bought on grocery shelves Ambassador Braun's tea and organic products
Oh
for
wow.
many years.
Whoa.
And she didn't retire. She continued on to do so many great things as a businesswoman. But she got a recent appointment in March of this year by President Biden to actually serve as chairman of the U.S. African Development Foundation's board of directors.
Wow.
So she has not stopped. But I also know, because she supported me when my twin passed away once, that she is the proud grandmother of twins.
Yeah.
So
All right.
her wonderful son Matt has twins. I think that if you ask her what her proudest moment is, all I see beaming about the twins. But welcome,
welcome,
Ambassador Braun.
Ambassador Braun.
You've been honored. I know you've got probably a trunk full, a wall full, a gym full, but of awards. But you're being honored this Friday at the YWCA Leader Luncheon, and it is so appropriate that you will be getting at the She the People Leader Luncheon, that you will be honored as a trailblazer. And you've probably gotten so many awards, but being honored with your own and just being a legend. And as we're on the eve of history, welcome. Right before you came, Tamara Fair. She has multiple businesses, but she's an educator of children, and she's doing childcare. So she and Marcel were having conversations about all the legislation and the federal pieces with education and economics and women. But welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much for having me. This really is a real pleasure. And like I said, we make the twin connection.
That's right.
Very important.
That's right.
Well, Ambassador Brown, we're so glad to have you. Yesterday we had Congressman Bobby Rush. You're being honored, but you have a long resume of amazing things you've done. But I think
that just means I'm old.
No, that means
you're busy.
You're busy. So
and jazzy. Don't say
that's
you
right.
can see how beautiful and jazzy she is.
So we have 2 weeks until election.
Right.
We have Kamala Harris, soon to be the first African American woman to be president. But most people don't know that 20 years ago this year, 2023, you became the first African American woman to run and announce that you were running for president. So listen, you cemented your legacy and the role for Kamala to be here today. How does that make you feel?
I'm really proud of her. I'm delighted that she is the party nominee, and I think she's going to win. I could be wrong about that, but I hope not.
Mm-hmm.
I think
you're right about
she's
that.
She's got it all going on, and I'm very proud of her.
Well, you blazed the trail for her, so we got to thank you in retro. Now, what is she facing? Because you've been there. What is she facing, and particularly the differences in what you faced with a non-Donald Trump opponent, and now she has Donald Trump as an opponent?
She's up against the patriarchy, among other things.
Mm-hmm.
She's been able to be competitive on the financial front, thank goodness. But she's up against people like, they say that men who don't want to vote for a woman to be in charge. It's just crazy to me, but
because particularly in your family, the woman's in charge anyway. Why not keep it going?
Well,
well,
a lot of people, a lot of guys have a real problem with the idea of having a woman at the top spot, and why that's so is that's the patriarchy. It makes no sense at all, particularly since you got this jerk, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
On the other side, this guy does not think anything about any of you. Somebody's phone is going crazy right now.
Yeah, but
that's okay. We just gonna go right over.
That's
the
your background music.
Yeah, and it's so pretty. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but and so she's up against a lot of things that are not spoken of in polite company, and it's just really kind of sad, unfortunately, because she's very eminently qualified to do the job, and she has all the credentials, all the experience necessary to do it, and I think she can do it and will do it and make us all proud.
She
Yeah.
has the demeanor too. She
She
has a
does.
very presidential demeanor that I would be proud to be representing me both domestically and internationally.
That's correct.
So, Ambassador, what we love about Wynona Win-Win Communications, community chat, she always brings us great new friends, and we're so glad. Look, I'm glad to be able to say that Ambassador Brown was here, and my new friend. When you look at what's happening now, we talked yesterday about Donald Trump talking about Arnold Palmer, and he called it locker room talk. And his daughter
To the
came
world, right?
to the world.
I'm like, what is your problem?
But locker room talk is really relegated to the locker room. Just
That's the issue. Where has this country gone, in your opinion? Because when I think of elected officials, and we always say we hold them to a higher regard. They're still humans. You guys are human beings, but you have a certain countenance about you when you're elected. And we're not seeing that in this day and age. When you got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about eyelashes and black women and body shaming, and Donald Trump talking about Arnold Palmer in the locker room. What happened to diplomacy? What happened to tact?
Civility.
Civility.
And you're exactly right. What happened to it was it got degraded and made irrelevant. And so why that happened, I'm not a social historian to be able to pinpoint what exactly went down, but it's really unfortunate and tragic and a bad example for our kids coming up, because it says to them, manners don't count.
Mm-hmm.
Being nice to the person next to you doesn't count. Um, um, and it's a bad example for them. And I just hope that we get back to some level of normalcy in which we can, comport ourselves appropriately and set a good example for the next generation coming along. Because it doesn't stop with us.
Yep.
It goes on, and we set the table for them. And if we're going to set a table that's all messed up and it's got problems, then that's on us.
mhm.
So
I have problems. But
always.
the solutions have got to be on the horizon, or we have to be intentional about getting to the
That's
solutions.
correct.
And when you look at the agendas and the platforms,
Mm-hmm.
Congressman Rush was talking about the housing piece, but you were there as a woman history maker. Then you were an ambassador representing the U.S. So you've seen the economic side, you've seen the education side, but you also had gun violence way before we had all of this going on. What in your view? And the agenda as folks go to the polls, the why.
I think that if you're mindful of the fact that you're not just doing this for yourself, you're doing it for posterity. You're doing it for your kids and your grandkids. Not just voting, but setting an example. And I think that if that drives the conversation, then we'll be okay. Because change is constant and continual, and every generation, it was every generation since the hero of the pop charts. So every generation has to fashion its responses to, frankly, the same questions. The questions keep coming up generation to generation, and we have, I think, an obligation to make sure that the table that we set, the example that we make, is one that we'll be proud of, that we can look at and be proud of. This is what our generation did. We tried to do it right, and we are hopeful that will be a good role model for you. Uh, because I've got grandbabies, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody who's got children has got to be mindful of the fact that they watch what we do,
Mm-hmm.
and
More than what we say.
And when you
yeah,
look at guns in schools, when you look at Laquan McDonald's anniversary, what's on the line and what's on the agenda for how are we dealing with guns? How are we dealing with violence? But your legislation was how many years ago? You started this, and it still continues.
well, again, you just keep pushing and keep punching at the punching bag, and recognizing that change is not going to happen overnight. It happens over time, and that you may not win right off the bat, But if you just keep at it and keep doing the right thing and trying to live up to the best example, the best model of behavior that you can, if you do that, you'll be able to go sleep at night and look at yourself in the mirror.
Absolutely.
So you have been lauded for introducing and passing some very progressive educational bills in your tenure in office. And Donald Trump has made a promise that one of his first agenda items, should he get in office, is to dismantle the Department of Education. What does that look like for the American people if that happens?
You know, I got to tell you something. Uh, you have to distinguish education from the bureaucracy that's built up around it. And quite frankly, I don't, not to give Donald Trump credit for anything,
Right.
the fact of the matter is that the Department of Education, unfortunately, has kind of been a backwater
Hmm.
and really hasn't done what it's supposed to do.
Mm.
Because there's so many challenges in education. Everybody's got to chip in and do their part. The federal government, as it is, provides less than 10% of the cost of elementary and secondary education, which is unfortunate because that puts all the pressure on the property tax payer to come up with the money to fund elementary and secondary education, which is not right. And the state then chips in the bulk of the money, and then you've got the Department of Education, the federal government, with the tiny contribution. So for him to make that point seems to me to be disingenuous to begin with.
So should his message be reform as opposed to dismantle?
It should be reform, exactly. But you know, he doesn't do anything but half measures.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
the problem.
drastic.
It's always, you know, let's throw the baby out with the bathwater. And he has a unfortunate way of approaching these issues, which is why again I'm not supporting him. I have no problem saying that publicly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do everything I can to get Kamala elected because she understands how these things are supposed to work, and she's prepared to make them work for the
Hmm.
American people.
Very, very profound.
Now we could just come locally, because you make Chicago proud.
Yes, you
Well,
do.
listen, you make Chicago
Yes,
proud.
you
Yeah, and
do.
let's not forget she is being celebrated
We
at
won't
the
forget.
YWCA luncheon, the Leader Luncheon, and the Trailblazing Award. So it is still possible for people to go and join. But it will be this Friday, and it will be right. It'll be right here. We'll put all of the information up, but you'll be, when they have the Sojourner Truth and they do the Trailblazing and all of that, they have beautiful awards. But you're being honored for your whole legacy
Oh,
and
thank
the
you.
economics, everything. But your latest new assignment, that U.S. African Development Foundation, what is that? What
The
is that? What
USADF.
USADF? That
Right.
is a new position and a new.
That agency's been around for 20 years. I didn't even know it existed. And
Hmm.
I've been on the Senate Finance Committee, and I've been around, as you would think I would know,
Right.
but I had never heard of it until the president came up with an idea wanting me to get involved with it. I had never heard of it before. It's like, where'd this come
So
from?
it's economic growth, as we know that our new presidential candidate has a great economic platform. So you're working already on this.
Yes.
So what is it? Can you let the believers know exactly what it is?
It's the African Development Foundation, and the thing about that is that, you know, I travel to Africa quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and not just because of the homeland and all of that, but because just to educate myself. Self. And Africa is very different, diverse, very different, and unfortunately, African Americans really cannot connect themselves with any specific part of the continent, and
Yep.
that's a real tragedy. Um, uh, I think it's terrible. It's something we've got to work on fixing.
Yeah.
People ask me what's the first thing I can do about Africa. First thing you can do is familiarize yourself with what's going on and where, etc., where your people are from,
Yep.
that sort of thing, to the extent you can reconstruct that, because that's one of the things that got taken from us with the slave trade, and it's unfortunate because there's so much there, there's so much in Africa for us to learn from, and I'm still learning. I go very often, and I'm still learning. Every time I go, I learn something new.
Mm.
Um, but it's very important that we reconnect just as my German friends reconnect with Germany,
Yep.
my French friends
Polish
reconnect with
friends,
France,
Poland.
my Polish friends
Yes.
reconnect with Poland. They all can point to some place on the planet where their ancestors are from, and we should be able to do the same.
Yep.
I think that Ancestry.com opens up people's eyes because I am 53% African from the Congo, and I've never been there, nor have I ever had the aspiration to go until I got that
And you're on the
Ancestry.com.
wrong website because you got to go to African Ancestry, get your DNA, and they can tell you, pinpoint your tribe.
I got my tribe pinpointed on Ancestry.
Not on Ancestry. They go to African Ancestry because they taking the DNA from Africa, which is so one of the things that I'm passionate about is bridging the diaspora, right? And until we understand each other, love each other, because the world is scared of us connecting, and we have to connect. And
Hmm.
so that's why Ancestry. I did the Ancestry, but it just gives you. It doesn't target like your tribe. African Ancestry is a black-owned company that's run the DNA of several tribes in Africa, so they could tell you if you Igbo or the other Nigerian tribe. And so that's what,
Rani.
yeah, Runali, that can kind of help you learn a little bit better versus
Hmm.
just the Congo, you 53% and you don't know where in the Congo to go. So we want to try to connect as close as possible, but we're glad we're connected with you.
Because
And
what's exciting about her work is that the connection usually has a budget that you can't meet, right? But your organization actually provides grants to help improve the livelihoods and promote sustainable economic growth and bridging that,
I
like you
love it.
said, that diaspora.
and it's exciting that it's like it ain't over. It's not. You've done so much,
God
but
willing.
you've done so much, and that as we are on the eve of more history being made, God willing, you already working on the economic side. But this Friday, at
Somebody
the
said it's Friday.
This
this
Friday.
Friday, ywca.org. Nicole Robinson, great leader there. The leader luncheon is all. I'm a former board member. I'm a Vanguard board member. The leader luncheon honorees, outstanding racial justice leader Dorothy Tucker. As CBS2, an immediate past president of the National Association of Black Journalists. They've got outstanding civic leader Lisa Duarte. They've got trailblazer ambassador Carol Mosley Bronze, an outstanding leader in business, Jennifer Scannion, president and CEO of UL Solutions. But ywca.org, we are just excited that they are giving you the Trailblazer Award and that you're still blazing a trail, but still just such a beautiful, wonderful person. When I
Yes.
was public affairs director at Dominic, she came and spoke to helped us start our women's group there, and just has been a trailblazer everywhere.
Well,
Well,
as like
Ambassador, you are a living legend, and I know you have more work to do. And you know what? I say this so respectfully. Ambassador, you looking better than a bacon and egg sandwich. Go
I told her she was
ahead.
jazzy, beautiful purple lavender.
Well,
my
listen.
my question is for Wynona, just for
Mm.
1 minute. How do you know all these wonderful people?
I've been blessed. I've been blessed because when you have giants, they don't only stand. You come and stand on their shoulders, but they lift you up.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
when we did that inauguration, that was right after my twin had died, and she just has always been there and a beautiful, beautiful person. And she does not. She takes care of friends.
That speaks to your inner beauty too.
Yes.
it does.
Well,
Yes.
believers, we're speaking to your inner beauty. Listen, we wish we had so much more time with the ambassador, but we hope that you come back and share more updates with the work that you're doing. We're praying that God continues to cover you, bless you, and open doors that no man can shut. And listen, Ambassador Braun said, go out and vote, and she was not ashamed to say who she's supporting. So let's go make this black woman the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris. Listen, Wynona, thank you for always bringing great guests. Don't go nowhere. We got way more to share right here on the Brunch Bunch on Inspiration 1390.
And you
Are
got
there
a
still
dual
opportunities
citizen.
to go to her?
It's not sold out yet. They can
Okay,
still buy
Tomorrow.
tickets.
because I want to get people
ywca.org.
to get
Huh?
go and buy tickets and be there and
That'd
watch
be
This
nice.
would
that.
be
Yes,
one of the segments.
that's historical.
Thank you. As a little boy said, oh, They were inaugurated in the high school, grammar school rather, Carol Mosley Brown Elementary School out in Calumet City. And one little
Do you
boy.
go there?
No,
Do you ever go there to just like
hang out?
wow the people?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Hmm.
That's amazing.
Oh wow.
Well, one little boy turned to the other and said, "There goes Carol Mosley Braun." And his friend turned around and said, "You mean she's not dead yet?"
Oh my God.
No, she's not dead
No.
yet. I'm still here.
Kids.
Oh my God. Yeah, kids. You know what? Kids, even like 20-year-olds, think we're old. You know what I
That is
mean?
funny.
So little kids are like, I had my phone on my desk one day and I was teaching, and someone called me and their picture came up, and it was one of my friends, and she said, "Your granddaddy's calling." I'm like, oh my God.
I've been called my wife's father a few times. I don't know how, but
Because it's kids, right? It's little
no,
kids.
it's adults.
Oh, yeah. Well, the next time you tell that story, say it is kids.
Well, she looks young.
Yeah.
She does. They don't know though. Their realm of reality is
We are
all
outta
about
here.
virtual.
Not dead yet.
Right.
Autumn, were you still there? Yeah, Bloom is still hanging. See you all on tomorrow. We had a wonderful time with Ambassador Carol Mosley Braun, and we salute her on her award this Friday. So see you tomorrow on Facebook.
Wait, don't take Facebook off yet. Don't take Facebook off yet.
Okay.
There's still opportunities for you to go and watch this historic moment at the YWCA as they pronounce her with this prestigious award. And Wynona, how can they get tickets?
YWCA.org.
YWCA.org. That's going down this Friday, guys. This Friday. Yes. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Y'all, we appreciate
My
you.
pleasure.
Take pictures when you're there, okay? Peace. We're going to get some pictures. Speaking of pictures.
What's the job?